Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com, this is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
Okay, John, I'm going to start with some great news. You can use some good news, right?
Yes.
Got a government check, Trudeau check, 200 smackaroos, $200. They very thoughtfully placed it right in my bank account. Oh, yeah.
We're in the money.
Oh, yeah. This is the much discussed and boasted about carbon tax rebate.
Ah, yes.
Which Trudeau claims more than compensates for all of the carbon tax that this household has poured out all year long. Now comes the bad news. Okay. We got the Enbridge natural gas bill here. For the month of September 8th to October 7th. To be honest, it includes water heater for the pool, right? Total amount owing for natural gas in that month, $503.76. Now, okay, I guess September must have been a little cooler than usual, global warming and all. But it's about $100 more than the bill for the same period last year with about the same power used, the same gas used. So obviously the price of gas has gone up considerably. But that's not the worst of it. Of the $503.76 total bill, folks, an incredible $78.43 is the federal carbon tax. Now, just in case you think I'm bullshitting you, there. I don't know if you can read that or not. There's the total bill. There's the carbon tax, and you may see at the bottom circled the HST. So of the total bill of $503.76, $78.43 is the federal carbon tax, and the HST is $57.96. Or total tax for the month, $136.38. Wait, whoa. Wait a minute. $136.38 for tax. That's more than 27% of the total bill. Wait a minute. You're telling me that tax on natural gas to heat your home, the tax is now more than 27% of the total? Yep, it is. And I got to have some news for you, folks. If I'm paying 27% in tax, in all probability, so are you. No matter what your bill, in all probability, 27% or a little bit more is tax. The federal carbon tax and HST. And by the way, I love this. Yep. The HST is charged on the carbon tax.
Yes, it is.
Only Trudeau would come up with an idea of charging tax on tax. So we're paying the HST on 78 something. So we're paying tax on the tax. That's just to add insult to injury. Kicking sand in my face, okay? And as I say, folks, please keep this in mind. If the Green household is paying 27% of the total gas bill in taxes, in all probability, so are you. And as I say, let's remember something else, okay? We got a refund check of $200. Trudeau stands in the House and boasts that this more than compensates for all the carbon tax we're paying. Wait a minute. 1 month alone on my bill for gas, $78 is carbon tax, which means that in about 3 months' time, I will have paid out more than $200 in just 3 months on the tax, the carbon tax on natural gas alone. Wait a minute. That's nowhere near rebating me. It doesn't cover all of the tax I'm paying for gasoline, for clothing, for virtually everything. I mean, the food. You don't think you're paying carbon tax for food? Of course you are. There's carbon tax charged everywhere. Hell's bells, the farmer who's growing wheat has got to pay thousands of dollars to draw on carbon tax for the propane to dry his wheat. Cost is passed along to you, of course. So everything. Don't ever kid yourself that you're not paying carbon tax on food. You're even paying carbon tax on Christmas trees. Yes, you are. And it's going to. You know what? I have news for you. And Pierre Poilievre, God bless him, has been pounding away at this for the past 2 or 3 weeks. He's going to triple the carbon tax on January 1st. I don't want to give you the figures now. It's too confusing. Let me just say this, that and the experts agree on this. Today on natural gas alone, we are paying about 27% in taxes. After January 1st, in the increase in carbon tax, that will go from anywhere to 30 to 35%. So in 1 year's time, we will be paying between 30 and 35% of the natural gas to heat our homes. And by the way, the same holds true in all probability for electricity. 30 to 35%. In 3 years' time, if he continues to increase the carbon tax as he says he will, 1/2 of the total bill of natural gas to heat your home, 1/2 will be taxes in 3 years' time. That's the math is there, folks. The math is there. 3 years' time, a little less than 3 years, actually. If he continues with increasing every year as he says he will, you'll be paying 50% of your bill will be tax. HST, but mostly carbon tax. Plus all the carbon tax you pay elsewhere. So when Trudeau stands in the House and boasts, pound his chest, claims that most Canadians are getting back more money in carbon rebates than they're paying in carbon tax, it's just a lie. Just one more sleazy, blatant, barefaced lie. Certainly is in our household. In 3 months, the carbon tax on natural gas alone will be greater than the rebate we got for all of the carbon tax we pay. I don't know. And yet, the amazing part of it is that a lot of you will still vote for him. A lot of you still think he's the sliced cheese. He's the cat's meow. Anybody got any comments on any of this? How do you like this? And by the way, don't you just love this inquiry that's underway now? And did we really need the Emergency Measures Act? Oh, yes, we did. Why? Well, it's all Doug Ford's fault.
Yeah.
It's all, I mean, Doug Ford may be just as guilty as the rest, but you're telling me that the city had no responsibility? It was the city that gave them permission to park on Wellington. It was the city that set up special tenting or whatever the hell it was at the ballpark. It was the city that did nothing to get rid of them. So I would think that the city has just a tiny little bit of responsibility. The police were supposed to, enforce all of the bylaws. They didn't do it, but they don't have any. No, it's all Doug Ford's fault. Why? Well, Doug Ford didn't come here.
I was just going to say, what would be the province's role in any of that? Doug Ford didn't come here.
Doug Ford had no problem getting rid of the blockade on the Ambassador Bridge. He just imposed some provincial law and said, you got to get off there, and sent the police, and the police got rid of them. There was no violence. They go, okay, fine, we'll obey the law. But this pointing finger, it's all Doug Ford's fault. Oh my God, Jim Watson. It's all Doug Ford's fault. And then Trudeau, in this private conversation, how this ever got released, I don't know. Private conversation between Watson and Trudeau, two liberals, okay. So it's all Doug Ford's fault. Doug Ford won't come here. It's his fault. So Trudeau had no responsibility whatsoever. Mayor had no responsibility. Police had no responsibility. It's all Doug Ford's fault. I don't think we've seen any response from Doug. He must be just shaking his head. I mean, he was foolish enough to say that he stood shoulder to shoulder with the Prime Minister. Well, very clearly, the Prime Minister doesn't stand shoulder to shoulder with him. Oh, by the way, that's a bad mistake on Ford. I have no idea why he would say that. Very clearly, he feels he has to kiss Trudeau's ass in order to keep on getting some federal money. But so while Doug Ford is kissing Trudeau's ass, I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with him. Yeah, we got Trudeau, bad mouthing Ford to Jim Watson. Oh, what a bunch, eh? What a bunch. Are we being well led in this country, folks? Are we in good hands? Oh, good hands. Oh, my arse is a star. John, what sort of response are we getting here? I mean, it's just so ludicrous. And even some of the left-wing columnists are finally admitting that there's a little bit too much finger pointing. But you know what? Some of them they're still carrying on the myths about what happened. I keep still reading about all the people who were dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Deflect, right?
It's unbelievable. It was John Iveson, who I have a lot of respect for. In his column yesterday or today, said, oh, people dancing on it. Wait a minute. There was one stupid, silly woman, we don't even think she was with the convoy, who got up on the tomb very foolishly for about 4 or 5 seconds, did something. The police didn't even charge her. That's it. Then now it's been developed into they were dancing on the tomb. I mean, these are supposedly honest, above board, unbiased columnists, and they know bloody well what happened. But I just throw that out. It's just like I don't know about you folks, but it's really hard to know where to turn for the truth these days, isn't it?
No.
It's really hard to find someone that that will take responsibility. Is anybody prepared to say, listen, you know what?
This show right here. This show right here is where you can turn to.
Jesus. It's unbelievable. Watson. Oh, no, we had no responsibility. Wait a minute. You let the trucks in. There's a bylaw that says that trucks can't go in there. You have to follow a truck route. You approved the change in allowing the trucks to go along. It was you. It was your government that allowed that.
You gave them the ballpark to use.
You gave them the ballpark. It's not
the people who pay rent at the ballpark couldn't go to the ballpark, Mayor Jim Watson.
And the police. What a sorry excuse for a police chief. Solely we had didn't know. Well, we didn't know we had enough people. Very clearly, the people were prepared to follow the law, or at least most of them. They did this when they got a court injunction to stop the horn blasting, and they stopped. The protesters on the Ambassador Bridge, when confronted with the law, said, okay, and they left. They didn't even try it here. But it's all Doug Ford's fault. All Doug. Well, you know what? Maybe it's apt punishment for Ford saying he should shoulder to shoulder with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister's on the phone like a little teenager. And that Doug Ford's a bad guy. He didn't even come here. Oh. Okay, what are people saying?
Comments are coming in fast and furious. Mike just said, Doug will get his revenge on Justin before the next election. Mike says, and they said they could use public transit to get from the ballpark to the Hill on top of everything.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, Mike, but Mike, if you got a source for that, Mike, pass it on. Sean says the media spreads false information, so people not in Ottawa will think it is the truth.
Oh, yeah. Everybody dancing on the tomb. It's not true. One silly woman, very briefly. That's all it was.
But Lowell, that's being used to deflect attention, right?
Oh, yeah.
Look at this egregious thing. Don't pay attention to what actually happened.
And the swastika flag that's supposed to have been. Apparently, there was some idiot. See, he wasn't even on the Hill. Apparently, he was someplace else.
Yes.
And, of course, the Prime Minister's photographer is there, and he takes this picture.
Yes.
It's far removed. But suddenly, everybody is a Nazi. I even saw something on Facebook a couple of days ago, a guy writing, they were handing out Nazi cards. Anyway. But anyhow, they're handing out $200 refunds, and saying that this more than covers the carbon tax. Go ahead,
We're
John.
in the money.
Oh, boy.
All right, YouTube and Woodenhead. It's all about the spin. Everyone, especially politicians, seem to spin the truth to suit their own agenda without any accountability. Linda says Ford supports Trudeau, but Trudeau blames Ford. I'd like to see Ford's face after that comment.
Yeah, me too.
To the natural gas issue. Anne says natural gas is the cleanest burning fossil fuel. Why is that never ever mentioned? She asks.
Well, here's a question that I have. Would you not agree, John, and everybody else out there, that heating your home, certainly in the wintertime in Canada, is a necessity? Only, of course, if you want to stay alive. I mean, if you want to freeze to death, then don't heat your home. But if you would like to stay alive so that you can continue to pay your tax, I mean, I don't know if Trudeau realizes this or not, but dead people don't pay tax. Not so far. He hasn't figured that out yet. So what I'm saying is that it seems to me that heating your home is a absolute necessity, just as is food and shelter. You got to heat your home in the winter. It's not a luxury. I don't think there should be any tax at all, including HST. This is a necessity of life. It's the same as charging you tax on your medical. You know, when you go to a doctor and you got to pay tax to go see the doctor. So far, we haven't done that. That may be tomorrow, but it's as heating your home in the winter in Canada is just as necessary as going to the hospital for a broken leg. John, what are people saying?
The text number and the phone call number is 613-413-2217. Of course, we invite your calls. And if you want to email Lowell at blasttheradio.com, let's go to email. And Jamie says, I would rather they not send out any more so-called rebates and just keep the prices down. No more tax increases, he puts in bold font, please. Let's go to earlier comments from Renee on Twitch. Doug Ford wants to testify, but has not so far been asked to.
Yeah, that's true, apparently. Yeah, he was not asked to testify. That's right, but he's still being criticized. It's all his fault. But wait a minute. He says I wasn't asked to testify. Nonetheless, it's your fault. It's your fault. You weren't asked. Go ahead.
Text Lowell, I'm going to clean the chimney soon so that I can triple my carbon output burning wood this winter. Not sure how Trudeau is going to tax me. Robert says, when asked, the truckers remove vehicles from city streets. Not much mentioned about that. Bob on Barhaven, or I believe you mean in Barhaven. If you're on Barhaven, Rob, could you get off Barhaven, Bob? Thank you. Ann says, yes, Lowell is making the exact point I always make. Why are we treated like sinners for heating our homes so we don't freeze to death in a freaking cold country in the winter? It's a necessity, damn it, not a luxury.
I just want to go through this again. I mean, $78.42 for federal carbon tax for 1 month natural gas at the green household, plus $57.96 for GST, $136 for tax in 1 month alone for something that, I will admit that heating your pool is a luxury. Okay,
it is.
But heating your home, now, when I say heating your home, we heat the home, we heat the water. A water heater is gas, and so
a lot of folks use gas stoves.
Yeah, no, we don't have. We have an electric. I wish we had a gas stove.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is that while in our case part of this is the pool, nonetheless, I mean, the pool is not being heated now, believe me. So it's all our bill for natural gas this winter will be in the range of $350 to $400 a month, 27% of which will be tax. It's outrageous. We've got to heat the house. John, I want to get a word in here for our good friends up there in Pakenham.
Let's do that.
Shields. Haven't been on the air for a couple of days, so I haven't been talking about them.
I did. I gave them a glowing review yesterday.
Oh, wonderful.
I got your back. I got you.
I just want to remind you that in addition to being, as far as I'm concerned, the number one supplier of appliances in the entire area, they now are a full-scale Sony dealership. And the same good business sense, fair play applies whether they're selling appliances or Sony. What do you call a Sony? Are they
electronics?
Electronics. That's the word. You can tell what age I'm from. So I just want to tell you that if you deal with all I've ever asked, and I've said this 100 times, just at least give them a chance. Listen, if you check out the prices and find that you can get them, $5 cheaper at Bad Boy or whatever it is, well, it's up to you. But if you think you'd like to do business with good people, local people, keep the money here, and the prices are competitive, why would you not deal with Shields? Shields.ca. John, thank you.
And if for no other reason, they do support this show. And thank you for supporting the show as well. Thank you for sharing on your social media. And
By the way,
that
John,
Lowell
I,
is
I
here.
didn't get a chance. I was really indisposed yesterday.
Mm.
How did you make out on your own, flying on your own wing?
I felt good, Lowell. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for your blessing to go ahead and do that. It's something
You don't
obviously
need my blessing.
No, well, it's your show though. It's been
No,
the
it's
Lowell,
your radio
been
station.
Okay, but it's been the Lowell Green Show since before I was born, for crying out loud.
Before you were born, really?
Yeah,
be. What year were you born?
1969.
Well, yeah, actually, the Green Line was on the air before you were born. We launched our first edition of the Green Line on CFR in 1966. You know who one of the first guests I had and was soundly booed was the mayor Jean de Repos, the
mayor of Montreal.
Mayor of Montreal. He came on my show to announce, guess what, John? That he was going to go ahead with Expo 67.
Oh boy!
People phoned; they were mad. You're going to build islands in the river. What are you going to do that for? The islands are going to sink. You're going to bankrupt the entire country, etc. He just laughed and put it with the whole time. Now, after Expo 67, which was a huge success, a joyous occasion, probably the best year we ever had, and so we had him back on after. People's tone had changed drastically.
I guess
they were thanking him. Some people crying, said a wonderful time, how proud they were, etc., etc. But yeah, one of my first guests was Jean de Repos, mayor of Montreal, to announce. This is the first place that he announced. Well, in Montreal he did, but outside Montreal, the first place he announced Expo 67. Go ahead, John.
So is that going to be ultimately my responsibility years down the road, is to have a conversation with Jim Watson at some point and apologize for my poo-pooing his vision for the LRT? Turned out to be a great thing, Mr. Mayor. Good on you.
Yeah, but it's that, you know what? That's all Doug Ford's fault too. No doubt. It's Doug's fault. The LRT, we got square wheels on the LRT. That's Doug Ford. Go ahead.
Let's go to Joshua. Why is there no more outrage with McKinney's answer in French keep going? I can't help but wonder if people are afraid to confront McKinney's behavior because of the pronoun preferences, as it's so easy to be labeled anti-whatever. I hate to think it, but it's worth wondering.
John, you said apparently, and I heard part of the video. Did she really use the phrase "speak in French will screw the guy"? Did you?
No. Okay, so yeah, see, this is fill-in guy getting himself in trouble already. No, I was paraphrasing, but that's, if you hadn't seen the video, that's essentially what she's doing. Is she's encouraging.
Oh, I know, I saw that. Yeah,
Matthew Fleury to speak in French. Go on, speak, just answer in French. Answer in French. I believe is what she said exactly. Answer in French. Answer in French. Yeah. And when he did, she said, "Keep going, keep going, keep going."
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that. Yeah, that's very clearly a definite attempt to obfuscate. To confuse.
Yeah, no, I was mocking Catherine McKinney.
What gets me is that both McKinney and Fleury were there at their request. They weren't summoned there by anybody. They wanted to testify, and so when they get there and they tries to, the lawyer tries to sort of justify some of the statements Fleury made, then he begins to say, "Oh God, you know what? I better try and confuse the guy here." What a pair of sleazy buggers.
Wow.
And she wants to be mayor. Let me say something else about this, because we vote on Monday. I live out in the country, as do tens of thousands of other residents. We live in the city of Ottawa. We pay city taxes. I don't have sidewalks. Nope. I don't have street lights.
Nope.
I don't have water.
Nope.
I don't have sewer.
Nope.
I don't have bus service.
Nope.
I have almost nothing. We have a school bus, and police, if you're lucky, will come here within a couple of hours. That's it. But I pay city taxes. So now she wants to spend $280 million on bike lanes. I had two guys here this morning installing something, and I said, "Boys, like, are you really happy that you're going to spend $250 million on bike lanes in downtown Ottawa? They almost threw up. Said, what the hell are bike lanes going to do for us? What are bike lanes going to do for handicapped people? What are bike lanes going to do for senior citizens? What are bike lanes going to do for all the people who live out in the country? And as far as free bus, why the hell would we have to pay for free bus? We don't have a bus here. We don't have bus service, but she wants to pay for people in downtown Ottawa to have free transportation while we don't have any. I mean, this is how outrageous it is. As far as she's concerned, nothing exists but bicyclists in downtown central Ottawa. The rest of us can go screw ourselves. Go ahead.
Every Tuesday, as I keep mentioning, I drive to downtown Ottawa. I do a comedy show at restaurants right across from Ottawa U. So I go up Main Street, and we spend, I don't know how much money, gutting Main Street, taking it down from 2 lanes each way to 1, and you got a zigzag, and it curves here and there to widen the sidewalks and put bike lanes in. I was driving there last night, Lowell, to drop some stuff off, and I thought I need to come back here with my video camera and just videotape all of these people not using bike lanes. There was nobody using these bike lanes.
Yeah, that's part of it. But the other part is that I mean, if she wants to be mayor of the entire city, well, I have news for you, Madam Mayor, or whatever you are. We're part of the city. I pay city taxes.
Yeah.
So what good are bike lanes in central Ottawa going to do me? What good are they going to do for the handicapped? You know, it would seem to me rather than spend $280 million on bike lanes in downtown Ottawa, we might spend $280 million getting the bed bugs out of city property. You know, why don't we look after the people who can't look after themselves? You know, with some of this public housing, it's disgraceful. Elevators don't work. They're trapped in their rooms for 2 or 3 days. Bed bugs still, you know, and she's going to spend, did she talk about any of that? Long-term care facilities or anything? No. Going to spend $280 million on bike lanes. Meantime, you got bed bugs in many of your buildings.
Yeah, and that's my point. The priorities are all out of whack.
It's sickening. Yeah. It's sickening. Go ahead, John.
All right, Ann says, great point, Lowell, pardon me. The mayor has to represent everyone, not just the eco-wacko nutters. Text from Peter at 613-413-2217. Glad I moved out of Orleans to Limoges. Good luck, Ottawa. You get what you vote for. Let me see. Absolutely right on, Lowell, says Tom. Keith says, when McKenney told Fleury to answer in French, they showed that they is part of the problem, not the solution. Fleury is just as bad for listening to they. Let's go to earlier comments from Scott regarding his rebate. He only got $139. There you go. Bruce says, I haven't checked the mailbox yet, so I don't even know. Bruce says, I was listening to the inquiry on the parliamentary channel, and the lady that was overlooking the committee for police board was on and indicated that the front office mayor's office at that the mayor himself would not sign a paper to ask for extra police to request it from Doug Ford. Prior to that, she also said that the mayor was told by Doug extra help with policing. Doug says, well, can't do that. That's coming from the mayor. Holy moly, Bruce, that's tough. Peter says, goes to show you don't have to be smart to be a politician. Screw the people who pay your salary. It's unbelievable. We get Trudeau out. We need to get Trudeau out before he bankrupts Canada. This is all so sad. Lots of comments from Ann today. I'm going to move past one from you, Ann, and go to Valda, who says, and they plan to keep raising the carbon tax, which...
Yeah, January 1st, folks. Don't forget that within about 5 years' time, right now the carbon tax, I keep losing track, is about $50 a ton. It's going to go up to $170 a ton. So, I mean, just think of that. If the carbon tax at $50 a ton costs me $78 a month, can you imagine what it's going to cost me at $170 a ton? That'll be about 4 times. I mean, as I say, in about 3 years' time, slightly less than 3 years, total tax on heating fuel for your home, total tax will be 50% of the total bill. And a lot of people are going to vote for this. And a lot of people are going to vote for Catherine McKenney. You know, can you imagine with Trudeau in power federally, Catherine McKenney, mayor of this city? I mean, you know what? I'm thinking seriously of moving to Iran. Go ahead.
I would encourage you not to do that. Anyway, yeah, we're right.
How about North Korea then? Cuba. Oh, God. I mean,
Listen, there's an RV sitting in my driveway. Let's fix it up and just keep driving away and see where we end up. Last word to Tommy in Saskatchewan, who emails to say, we, the citizens of Canada, are way overdue for a tax revolt. It is just awful out here, he says.
but part of the convoy was just that, a tax revolt. It was billed as an anti-vaccine mandate, but there was a great deal more than that. That's why there's so many signs, F. Trudeau. This was about all of these grievances, and chief among them, an incredible tax bill that's only going to leapfrog again in January. Thank you all, folks. Back tomorrow.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.